This is the end of a very long year, and we are going to talk about what happened. Welcome to the Art and Science of Difficult Conversations, where we believe when you communicate better, you live better. And as always, I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and I own Leadership Potential, where I work with leaders who are navigating difficult transitions and cultures. And as always, I'm joined with my co-host, Lucie.
I am owner of Mind Fittery, mental fitness gym for leaders, their teams, and even their families. And I'm excited for today's. Even their families. Today I was working with the daughter of one of my leader clients.
Awesome. Yeah. So today, as we did last year, we're going to do a recap. We're going to talk about season 2, where we grew a lot and beyond what we thought was possible. So it was cool. And we had lots of cool surprises, lots of cool guests, lots of cool discussions. So today we're just going to go through that, what we learned, where we landed, and we're going to give you a sneak preview of what to expect in season 3. Lucie, why don't you share with everybody first, kind of what did the year look like for us in terms of how many people were listening to us, where people were listening to us, all that good stuff.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I'm going to pull it up because I don't remember numbers very much. But let's see, we got total downloads over 5,000 and over 8,000 total downloads for both of our seasons.
Nice.
Which is exciting. I would ring the bell to us, and I would ring the bell for any of our listeners that ever tune in into our episodes, because it shows that you want to learn about this topic. So kudos to you. So that bell ringing, the winning bell, is also for you to acknowledge your commitment to your growth. And apparently we've been viewed on our YouTube, because we are also on YouTube channel, 51,600 times as of yesterday.
That's a lot of views.
Yes, that is a lot of views and a lot of times that somebody wanted to learn. So kudos to you. Lots of you wanted to learn and hear from us. Total watch time was over 437 hours. That's exciting.
Incredible. Yeah,
yes.
Very good.
So kudos to all of you. Now, what was interesting, we have different countries that are listening to our podcasts or on YouTube
Who
channel.
knew? I didn't know that.
Me neither. So USA, where both of us are, it's kind of not surprising, but that was only just slightly above 50%. So slightly under 50%, it's coming from outside of the USA, which is exciting. We have a great variety. So shout out to our listeners in the UK. That's on the second spot. To our listeners in Australia.
I would not have expected that.
Right?
I would not have expected Australia.
Yep. To our friends in Canada. And the most surprising on the 5 number of listens is from Singapore. So thank you.
That's cool. I wonder, who do we know that's in Singapore? Did they just find us randomly, or
I don't know. I don't know if
it's somehow.
I have few friends. I have few clients in Singapore. So if this is you, thank you for supporting us. If you shared it with your friends or any of you that we don't know personally, thank you. That is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yes.
Love that.
Now, do we go also in the top episodes? Yes. So there were more surprises around that. So our top episodes, our top audio episodes, not on YouTube, we had number 1 was the compilation of difficult conversations at work, which had almost 200 downloads. So almost 200 of you downloaded that episode and listened to having difficult learning about how to have better difficult conversations at work. Connected to that was another compilation episode, which is about giving feedback, how to ask for a raise, and dealing with defensiveness. A lot of you probably want to ask for a raise or deal with defensive people in your life and need to give a feedback.
You know what the interesting thing about that is, like, those compilation episodes are like hours long, whereas our regular episodes are, 50 minutes, maybe an hour, but 40 to 50 minutes. So it's interesting that people are like, I want to listen to like 2 hours worth of stuff.
That's surprising. That's amazing. I mean, thank you. Kudos to you.
Great.
Maybe somebody going on a road trip or some business travel and people are listening, preparing. So that was surprising. The third most popular episode was something dear to my heart, emotional intelligence. So how emotional intelligence can transform your leadership.
Nice. With Rick Fernbaugh.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And then difficult conversations around money, building trust, relationships, and asking for money with Rick Beck. My best
Yeah, the
friend,
one I
as
missed.
we determined. Yes, the one that you
Yes.
missed. That's why we had to become
Yeah,
best friends because you were missing as a friend.
I know. Yeah, yeah. And now you and him are gonna just take over this podcast now.
Totally. We're planning for it. The last favorite, the fifth spot, is the 5 steps to giving effective feedback. So it seems like our audio episodes, at least 2 or 3 of them, were about feedback. So popular topic.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, I think that just speaks to what we try to do here is we try to do actionable tactics. We try to do things you can take
Um,
away and start doing and not just theory. And so I think that's playing out. We anytime we have a podcast or every time we have an episode that talks about this is how
yeah.
you do this and these are examples of how you do this, it seems like those ones are resonating with people. They want the specific tips of how to do it or the phrasing of how to say it.
At least that seems to us from what we see based on your reactions. So you're always welcome if you want to see anything or hear more of about certain topics. Please let us know. We want to provide value to you, and so it's in a way a co-creation. If you don't tell us what you want, you might not get it. But if you do, chances are higher you get what you want. Now, there was another surprise from our YouTube content. Number one was still connected to also what was popular in the audio, which was how to negotiate a race. Number one. But the number two was different, and it was more about the family and personal relationships. It was family conversations that can change your life.
Yeah, yeah. That was great
Mm,
with the
yes, Becky Ellis. You were also missing on that one.
yeah, I was missing. I
Yeah.
think one of my kids was sick that day. But yeah, powerful story hearing about her and her dad and the
Mm,
journey they went through. So
yeah.
it doesn't surprise me that that is the top 5 because I think it was a good I think lots of people are struggling with kind of their relationships with family members, parents. So I think that was a good one to help think through that.
Mm. Then also another difficult topic to deal with for all of us, how to communicate layoffs compassionately and ethically. Number 3. And number 4 is HR your friend or enemy?
Yeah. Yeah, I had so many people share about those things. Was there an episode? I'm wondering, outside of those top 5 on either side, was there an episode or topic that was really impactful for you, Lucy?
I resonate with the family conversations that change your life. I would say because it touches me more personally coming from Europe. My grandparents living through the world wars and my parents noticing having the PTSD from their parents and the whole community in a way struggling still. And so that personally touches me and also having I had my own difficult conversations with my parents. And so yeah, that strongly resonated with me. How was it for you?
The one that I really think about or was really cool was talking to Randy Pryor about marital issues. How do men handle marital issues? How do men think about that? And I'm fortunate, luckily, I'm not in that situation right now, but I've in my therapy work, I've worked with many guys who have been kind of in those situations or facing a separation, and it's interesting how much it resonated that kind of stuff right away with that. So it was cool, and I loved our conversation with Chris Geggy back about
Yeah,
politics at work.
that was
I think
really
it was
cool.
really cool to have a framework about not to talk about things at work, not to talk about politics at work unless your work is political, which is
Yeah,
a lot harder now because the political stuff is impacting a lot of people's actual workplace in a much
absolutely.
deeper way than previously. So it's interesting. Would love we gotta have him back again for next season. I think that'd be cool to get an update, a refresh on that episode.
That would be amazing. Shout out to him and also kudos to him for his courage. I believe we roleplayed even with him.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'm curious, Lucy, how do you think our co-hosting relationship has evolved? Have we grown or have we changed? How so?
It's a good question. So we still haven't seen each other in person, but it's fascinating for me and awe provoking and really gratitude provoking to how many friendships and beautiful relationships I have with people across the globe. I think that's really magical thanks to internet and the technology that allows us to speak real time. from across the globe or across the states. So there's still gratitude and all around that. And I'm really grateful for your understanding and flexibility whenever we need to reschedule our recording. So thank you. It's been a joy to work with you, and it seems you are making it easier for me. Even though I'm dealing with a lot on my plate, you are dealing with a lot. Both of us, business owners, personal life. Yet we are making it happen. So I'm grateful. I don't know how we don't usually have that much time to talk about our personal life as much, mostly focus on work, but we are making it happen. From my side, how is it from your end?
I feel like we do talk about our personal lives. I feel like we're coworkers. We talk about it
Yeah,
enough.
we
We're
do.
not like
True. Yes.
diving deep into like how do you feel about your relationships with your friends? How's
True.
dating going?
Yeah,
Let's look through the
true.
potential dates you got. We're not looking through deep like that.
No, we don't have the time
Um,
for that. Yeah.
we don't have the time for that. But I think it's like having a coworker.
Yes.
Anybody
It's
that's
kind of
listening that
fun.
works by themselves, it's like having a coworker, and so it's kind of cool to have somebody that's doing similar work and
Yep.
can understand. I, I quote you a lot in the
Oh,
on some of the work that I do, so it's it's. I think I was on a predictive index webinar panel about a month and a half ago, and I quoted you on it because we were talking about I was talking about assumptions, and I quoted you your
the
idea that assumptions
termites.
are the termites in relationships.
Thank you. I think I always also quote you and recommend your newsletters and emails because I think they're
Good.
pretty awesome. So I'm a subscriber. I'm a loyal subscriber of your emails. I don't read them as often,
Thanks.
sorry, but
Thanks. Oh yeah, thanks. Thanks.
I'm still dealing with a lot in my inbox.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're
I get
marked
it.
there. They're marked there.
I
I
get it.
always see them.
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
anyone listening, if you are not subscribed, please do so because Chris has some really great stuff there.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Would love to have you everybody there.
Don't sign up for mine yet because that's coming. I'm gonna cut it out from.
Well,
So
I'm
what?
editing it, so it's up to me whether I want to
Aha!
keep it in or edit that out.
So Chris, what were some of your favorite moments from our sessions, recordings, podcast recordings, guests?
Well, this isn't gonna matter to anybody, but I liked when we moved to Riverside. It actually makes things a lot easier for both of us,
Yes.
editing and also just
Yep.
format and getting all the stuff.
Yes.
And I think I just loved all of our guests. I think they were all great, even if they were here to like try to sell some of their like new books or something. They still all had good
Yeah.
tips and good ideas and good strategies for life. In Whitney, when she talked about dating, she had some great ideas of how to just introduce yourself to people. So simple, not hard, not pressure induced, and like I can use that for networking. Just when I'm out networking, I can introduce myself to people because it's so simple and
Yeah.
straightforward. So so I love that. Was there any kind of favorite aha moment for you, or something that you like, some moment you loved?
Many moments I loved. I would say what I appreciate about our guests the courage and the vulnerability about sharing their stories. The episodes about suicide, we have a few episodes about that. And I would say talking about the stories and the difficult conversations about that, I would say gave me even more awareness. And I believe in my conversations now with clients, since then I've had several clients sharing about the topic, which for me is surprising
Mm,
and at the same time I'm grateful for the trust, but it gives me additional awareness and more confidence having myself these conversations with people about suicide, about the
mm,
impact of
that's
suicide.
awesome.
I have a client that lost a son to suicide, or other family member or death. So having these conversations with our guests also helps me that I can help more my clients when they're going through that, as it was not my focus for my specialty, let's say. I'm also appreciating how our guests often say, because we don't have scripted questions.
That's right.
So already that takes courage because we are kind of free flowing. And so kudos to all of our guests that are able to meet us there. And I heard them appreciate the structure because we are also listening to them. And then, okay, let's go to the next question. And I believe it makes the conversations more alive and genuine. But that's at least for me. I don't know how it is for you, our listeners, how that feels. But I kind of like that. How is it for you?
Yeah,
That kind of
many of our guests shared with us that they loved our style. They thought it was a really warm conversation that we were having and thoughtful. It is, I think it's just our nature, the two of us. That's why we gel so well. We like to listen to other people, and it also is interesting when I listen to other podcasts. There is a lot of interruption, but we usually just let the guests speak and speak and speak, and sometimes we have to cut those things out, which is fair. But it is also the essence of really listening, right? It's
yeah.
letting somebody share their story completely without us inputting what we're thinking about it and switching and changing what they're trying to share, which is
Yeah.
important, I think, in difficult conversations.
I think it shows the respect for the guest and it shows, yeah, our values in a way. Really deep listening in the difficult conversations or even podcast conversations.
Right, right. So, and it's not just the guests too. I've actually received some feedback from listeners over time about some of the podcast episodes, and it's always surprising because I never know who's listening. I assume nobody's
True.
listening, but clearly statistics tell
Somebody
us
is.
somebody's listening. Even if we're not like superstars, somebody is listening to these things. And
Mhm.
I've shared about the layoffs. If you missed that
Yes.
episode, you can go back to the past episode. But also, we had Amy Paget talk about is HR your friend or your enemy? And somebody shared, an executive director shared that they loved her conversation about authenticity and her take on it. Multiple people commented on it, but
Awesome.
he mentioned something to me that I had never thought about, which was for leaders in lots of employee engagement surveys, one of the questions is, do you feel like you can bring your whole self to work?
Mm.
And it's obviously never 100%. People like say they can't, but there's always a pressure for leaders to figure out, how do I get that? How do I improve that? And in her episode, Amy was like, there's a limit. You can't really be 100% authentic because that's just not possible at the workplace. And so I think he felt a lot of relief during that, hearing that. And I hadn't thought about that before. So it was really powerful, her idea of her framework of authenticity, even though I think we should be authentic 100%. But after her episode, I'm like, I guess you're right. Maybe we're not 100% authentic. We have to be at least still kind of conforming to how do we work together in a workplace.
Yeah.
And people always, not always, but people talk about our role plays. They like that it's we've gotten emails before that people appreciate that it's not just theoretical and that it's specifically, there's practice. This is how you would say it. This is how you would facilitate that conversation. So have you heard any feedback from listeners?
I know we had some comments on YouTube channel, but personally, I've shared clients usually shared with me feedback, how it landed for them, how some of the guests really spoke to them. And
Hmm,
also, I would say part of the feedback that it's thought provoking. Oh yeah, I never thought of it that way.
that's
And so
it.
for
That's
me,
all we can do.
that's a great win.
Yeah.
We are not saying this is the way you have to do it. It's no, pause and reflect and see how it lands for you. What would it look like in your situation, in your life? Because the knowledge itself is not power. You can get knowledge anywhere right now. It's about how you apply what you learn.
Yep.
And now
That's
for sure we
quotable
cannot do
right
that for
there.
you.
Yeah, we can't do it for you. Yeah.
No, but you have the power to really change your relationships, to change how you perform, to change how happy you are, satisfied in your life, fulfilled. And that can be conversations you're having with yourself, with the people around you. And
Love that.
so you can create your own wins just from if you implement just one idea, just 1%. If that 1% is that 20%, it can change your 80% of results.
That was a lot of math, Lucy. I don't know. That's a lot of math for me.
Probably incorrect math, but it's okay. It's a Lucy's
I mean,
math.
I'm sure like let's put that as like a tagline. The 1% can change your 20%. That could be your 80%.
The 1%, yes, the 1%, okay, that can change 99%, or the 80%. However, it may feel to your brain as 80%.
Yeah. But that was season 2. Lucie, hit
Yes.
the people with what we're planning for season 3 because we got some really exciting things coming up.
We are planning to change things up a little bit. What we are exploring, one of the first things that we may do that might be new is to hear live coaching. To also experience what it would look like. Of course, we'll make it anonymous, but real people will come with real problems and we'll address it live. So there will be one thing that's possible. What would be the second thing, Chris, that you want to share?
Well, we're focusing on a lot more internal leaders. So we've actually been sourcing and gathering and highlighting internal leaders, internal executives, senior leaders, and we're going to showcase some of the difficult conversations they've been really having in their work. You know, whether it's managing up, whether it's navigating those generational differences, whether it's those kind of things. We're really going to focus on what are real leaders doing in their organizations to have these hard conversations that they need, and what are the things they've learned and how they do it. And if we're lucky, we'll get some of them to also role play with us too. So it's not just us and not just our style, but you'll hear other people's
Mhm.
styles too.
Yeah, that's exciting. And also, so we are shifting still towards more leadership based also on the feedback that we had, because we had personal topics, we had work topics. So we are going to provide more of the work topics since that was the feedback also we received based on the most popular episodes. And yet, we'll maybe still kind of sprinkle in some personal topics there because all of us have personal lives. That's one of my passions, emotional intelligence too. So maybe once a month, you might also hear something about some personal topic. And you will need to listen to know about what kind of topics, maybe around grief, about dealing with bereavement at work. These are some difficult topics, a difficult anxiety at work. And Eddie, more topics to come.
We If you love those ideas, listen, we want you to be involved with us. So we want you to comment, we want you to share, and we want you to think about this. Which episode helped you the most? Was there an episode that you really loved that you listened to and you were able to implement? Let us know in the comments, either in YouTube, Spotify, Apple, email us, put it on LinkedIn, share with us on Instagram. Let us know what episode helped you the most. Which moment made you think differently about a hard conversation? Was there something that made you think, oh, I didn't ever consider that? As Lucie said, lots of people told her that they never considered that. Tell us what that was. What topic do you wish we'd cover next? Be specific as possible. How do I deal with Zach in logistics? Give us more details than that, but tell us what you want to do so that we can cover that topic and really be clear about it. And who should we bring on as a guest? Is there somebody that you know of that's like you would love to hear them talk about their strategies? Let us know and think big. Maybe we would love to have as many people as possible. I'd love to have like Obama on here. That'd be great to get him
Ooh,
on
that
here,
would be fun
talk
to
about his hard
hear his
conversations.
difficult conversation.
Yep. And so, and again, how can you also get involved? As Lucie mentioned, we are going to try to put in some coaching in here. So if you have said, I wish I could get coaching on how to handle this difficult conversation or this difficult situation, but I can't afford it, guess what? We'll do it for free. We'll do it for free. All you got to do is just come onto our podcast and let us help you. And of course, as she said, everything's anonymous. We'll blank you out. We'll change names so nobody can identify you. But let's do it so we can talk it through in the moment, right? And so we'd love to hear from you. Share with us any of the answers to any of those questions. And in the next month, we're just going to have compilation episodes. We're taking the month off to rest, relax. And so in the meantime, here are some other ways you can follow us before we come back in season 3, which will come back in August. But in the meantime, Lucie, let's say people are like, I cannot just listen to reruns. I hate that idea. How can the people find you?
You can find me on my website, mindfittery.com. The link is also always under the episodes, wherever you hear us or watch us. You can always email me, lucy@mindfittery.com, or just use the contact form on my website. I am super excited about launching some different programs. So it's not just individual coaching. If it's not a fit for you, I'll have some group programs mixed as well as with your peer groups. So I'm super excited. Chris, how people can reach out to you?
I have resisted doing this for a while because I couldn't think of a good format. But
Mm.
when in September, I'm actually running a 5-day difficult conversations course. I'm gonna
Oh,
walk through an entire course with a group. I want to have a cohort. We'll talk through difficult conversations. We'll go through giving feedback,
nice.
managing up. We'll go through specific situations, how to keep yourself calm, how to keep yourself regulated. And we'll do that in September. It'll be
Yay.
5 days. We'll hit it real tight, make it happen so you're not spending like weeks and weeks and doing like this, whatever. But if you're interested, if you're like, you know what, I would love to get better. I need to learn all these difficult conversations as a leader anyway. I'd love to get into it. Email me, myleadershippotential@gmail.com. Email me. Let's get you into that group. So I'm only gonna hold 10 spots because I want to keep it a tight group and make sure
Mhm.
that we have time to practice
Yeah.
and work through everybody's individual situations too.
Yeah. There's magic in small groups.
Absolutely.
Kind of semi private almost, if it's just 10 people. Sounds pretty
Yep.
exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a cool idea. I think
Hmm.
it'll be a cool idea. So we'll get into it. So, Lucie, I'm gonna miss seeing you for a month and a
You
half,
know,
but I hope you have a good rest. I hope you're enjoying this time to not
thank
edit
you.
episodes, not record, not think about this, but just disconnect and really live life.
Thank you. Same here, Chris. We'll miss you, and hopefully, or maybe our listeners will miss us. Wishing all of you a beautiful when summer, and we'll be live back in the end or in the midst of summer in August.
Absolutely. Again, thank you everybody for listening, watching. We truly appreciate it. This is we don't get paid to do this. I don't think we'll ever get paid to do this. So this is really just us trying to help people as much as possible. So please like, share, comment, engage, share with your friends, your neighbors, your friends, your family, everybody. Tell us
Friendly
about it.
dogs listen too, so
Yeah, tell them about us. Fall asleep to us. We don't care, but we'll don't miss our compilation episodes. We'll replay our greatest hits over the next month, and then we'll see you back in August.
see you back then.
See y'all.